The music of my good friend Callan Clark, right here. Either now or a little bit later, you might take a good look because it's not every day you get to see a living composer. One of the rarest of the breed. So this music was the beginning when I was trying to put this together and trying to decide how to talk about a symphonic revival. It may seem a little insignificant, it may seem a little premature, but this little tune inspired me. See, I'd gone to Callan for an arrangement of Faded Love. Aha! You see, Callan said, I will make you your hot dog with mustard and onions and pickles. And it's great. It's wonderful music. He said, but have you ever thought about doing some new music? I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, being a composer, I've been known to write a tune or two from time to time. Of course, I always kid Callan. I say all of his good music he wrote 12 to 15 years ago when he was in college. But he said, when I was in college, I had this idea for a little tune. He said, don't have to go into it. It's just a little romance. And I think it might make a nice romance for solo violin and orchestra. Well, what's it about? And Callan, he said, well, I guess I could tell you, but we don't have to tell anybody else. Let's be our secret. I said, I'm so intrigued. Do tell. He said, well, there's this ship, this French ship, the Normandie, le Normandie, pas la Normandie, le Normandie. And I said, what about it? He said, it's the most beautiful ship ever built. All the artists, the great artists of France, were brought together for the commissioning of this ship. He said, from the ground up, this was a work of art. Every fitting of this ship was created as a masterpiece of art. He said the idea came from a garage mechanic, a Russian immigrant who, the grease under his nails, said, I have a plan. I have a plan for a new ship. It's bigger and faster than any ship that's ever been built. If I could just get somebody to listen to my idea. Happened. And it was a great ship, and I might even say it was the most beautiful ship ever built. And we premiered Normandie with the Edmund North High School Orchestra. It was a little unsuspecting maybe. And for the high school kids, though, you can imagine at a time when orchestras are folding daily around the world. Here, in the middle of Oklahoma, a group of high school kids sitting in an orchestra giving a world premiere. And then another one the next year. And then all the music for my wedding. And I think here is a revival of symphonic music. It's saying we don't have to wait until the New York Philharmonic will play our music. It's about getting the idea of new music. And I was practicing in a practice room at one of the universities in town. And there was a girl, it was a few years later, stopped and opened the door and says, what are you playing? I said, I'm playing this piece called Normandie. She said, I was in the world premiere. She said, is it published? I said, no, it's just, here it is. Kinko's one-off. But, and Callan and I began to talk. We said, maybe there's something about this. Maybe there's something in this. And we thought, composer, violinist. Composer who is living and actually made it through his composition education with a passion still alive in him to connect with people with his music. And I am so eager to do so. And we thought there's so many things we could do. And then we stopped ourselves and thought, what should we do? Maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe it's not just chance that at this moment, in this place, in this time, there's Callan sitting here at the TEDxOKC conference. And here I am, my little violin from Enid, Oklahoma, which shows up in crossword puzzles as the metropolis of Northwest Oklahoma, so that might help you later, Sarah. And begin to dream and imagine, what if we did something that's never been done before? And I got a call from the Oklahoma Community Orchestra. And the orchestra asked me, the lady on the phone says, yeah, we'd like for you to come play with our orchestra. And I said, well, that would be great. And I have a band. And I thought they wanted me to come play, play fiddling and stuff with the orchestra. And I said, so what would you like me to do? And she says, well, to be quite honest, I'm ashamed. I've never actually heard you play, and I don't really know what you do. I suggested a world premiere, and she was so excited. She said, oh, we would just have so much fun with that. And about 6 to 8 months later, we gave the world premiere of this little piece of music. Bum, 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 bum. We need the trombone and the full orchestra. The Mary Rose, another great ship. Callan happens to be a naval historian, enthusiast. But this was the flagship of Henry VIII's naval fleet. Some people might ask, what's the connection between landlocked Oklahoma and a 16th century Tudor warship? And this piece of music answered the question. This piece of music answered the question when Prince Charles sent 2 delegates from the Mary Rose Trust in England to be here in Oklahoma City for the world premiere. When Mayor Mick Cornett proclaimed it Mary Rose Day in the state of Oklahoma, and we had to explain who and what was the Mary Rose. The day of the concert came, and Governor Brad Henry proclaimed it Mary Rose Day in the state of Oklahoma. And then we were asked by these delegates to come with this new Oklahoma symphonic music and perform for the opening of the new Mary Rose Museum in 2012 in Portsmouth, England. A symphonic revival. It's true, when I was 17, I gave 2 feature performances on the Grand Ole Opry, Nashville, Tennessee. Just a quick bit of information, because maybe everybody doesn't know what the Grand Ole Opry is, but that's like the Metropolitan Opera for a fiddle player. And that same year, I didn't make it into the Oklahoma All-State Orchestra. It was Roy Clark who had me come play a benefit concert at Kirkpatrick Auditorium right here at this university that changed a minimal scholarship for me to come study violin into a full tuition scholarship that allowed me to pursue my education and expand from just a decent fiddler to what I felt like would be a chance to become as great as I could, to have the maximum potential to connect with as many people as possible on this world. And when I was a student, I played my music in over 20 countries, promoting the university. My concert at the Beijing Central Conservatory was broadcast to the home of 1 billion people. There was a young violinist after the concert interviewed from the conservatory who was crying. And the interviewer asked her, "Why are you crying?" She said, "I didn't realize that music could be fun. I didn't realize." And I see this guy playing the violin, and he's playing our traditional music. And he's playing his traditional music. And he's playing music that we're studying at the conservatory. And he's having fun. And nobody ever told us that we could do that. She said, I'm crying because I got here an hour late and I missed half the concert. I played for the King of Malaysia. And I couldn't win the concerto competition right here. All I wanted was to play with an orchestra. So when the Edmund North High School Orchestra agreed to play the world premiere of Normandy, it was one of the greatest moments of my life, in my career. And I went out on that stage with all the pride in the world, and we played it, sandwiched in between Faded Love and The Devil Went Down to Georgia. And these were not symphony goers. When I play a Horseshoe Road concert, it's not the same crowd that donates thousands of dollars to the Oklahoma City Philharmonic. But those people are longing for a real human connection too. And we had that. I began to think, as I was putting this speech together, and this is totally not my speech. I was rehearsing yesterday, and I just locked right here on the stage rehearsing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I thought about the TED Commandments. The TED Commandments. Dream big. Strive to create the best talk you've ever given. Be yourself. Show us the real you. Be vulnerable. Make connection with people's emotions. Don't flaunt your ego. If possible, don't read your speech. Now, this is the one that had my stomach in a ball because I had written this beautiful speech on reviving symphonic music worldwide, starting right here in Oklahoma, which is what we're doing. But I was so nervous that I was going to mess it up. And last night I said, forget it. No speech. No talk. That's not me. And instead, to share with you what's on my heart. And I was looking over those TED Commandments the 2 weeks that I was preparing, because I was initially asked just to entertain. That would have been fine to get up and do what I always do and play a little Orange Blossom Special, and perhaps I'll play it. But then I realized, what if TED started an orchestra? What would that look like? Using the very same TED Commandments that guide the speeches and the talks of every presenter that comes to this stage. Then, guiding the composer who's writing the music, and guiding the musicians that are playing in the orchestra. Dream big, Callan. Strive to create the best music you've ever written. Orchestra, strive to create the best performance you've ever given. You see these people here? Connect with their emotions. When you come out on the stage, play the symphony from memory. No music. Nothing between you and me. Be yourself. Be vulnerable. Have an intention to connect with these people's emotions. Then, imagine. I think we'd find a phenomena that instead of having to go out and beg for funding, which I don't think funding is really the issue here. I think we'd realize that we'd have to have a selection committee to see who gets to be invited to the concert. Then, a new symphonic experience that begins as exclusive becomes accessible to the masses, wildly popular, perhaps by accident, Dr. Albert. People might be entertained. And if so, I say, great. Imagine symphonic music entertaining people. Here is a platform that is designed from the ground up, a TED conference, to entertain. It's not accident that a TED conference is interesting. It is intended to be so. They have made a conference entertaining. Certainly we can make entertainment entertaining. This is going to be the fastest Orange Blossom special in the world. Look yonder coming, come down the railroad track. Well, look yonder coming down the railroad track. It's the Orange Blossom special, bringing my baby back.